Hey guys, I want to show you how we make the Margherita Di Bufala. Now the Margherita is the most classically Neapolitan, the most classically Italian pizza that we make. It's very, very simple. It was actually created to mimic the colors of the Italian flag, which is red, which we use tomato sauce, white, we use the Bufala mozzarella cheese. This is the cheese that's made with the milk of the water buffalo that we import from Italy every single week, and basil. And then the only other ingredients that we use are a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of Romano cheese. It's a very simple pizza. It's a very classic pizza. It's actually our wettest pizza. So the cheese itself has a lot of moisture in it, and we put a little bit of extra sauce on it, and it's got a little oil, so it's got a lot of moisture going. In Italy, they actually bake the pies even hotter than we do, and that makes the dough also maintain a lot of moisture. So these pies in Italy, when you go there, are very, 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 very soupy. We don't want them quite as soupy because I don't think that follows with the American palate. But on the other hand, we don't want it that much drier either, because then all the Italians and the bloggers and everybody who's looking for the authentic Neapolitan pizza will say that that's not real. So we want to sort of be in the middle. I've stretched out a dough and just giving it a little pull here to make sure it's still at the right size. And I'm just going to go ahead and top it. So you're going to have to consult your recipe sheets for the exact weights of all of this. But I'm just going to sprinkle on a little bit of sauce here. A tiny bit more. You really have to practice with your scales and your weights. There's really no way out of it. Even if you've worked here for a bit, every once in a while, just test yourself. I'm going to grab a few leaves of basil right off. We've got the basil stored in water here. We've got a few leaves right off it. You can just pull and rip the leaves. That's about right. Now a little bit of Parm, or Romano. Actually, this one is Romano. Doesn't have to be that much. And now the Bufala cheese. This cheese is very wet. You can see how moist it is in my hands. One question is, how many pieces do you chop this into? The cheese is going to melt down. It's going to form like a thin layer on top of it. You don't want to break it into too many pieces. You'd rather have it dolloped on to give that unevenness. But on the other hand, you don't want it so high that it doesn't melt properly. So just going to do a few pieces here. Don't put that much sauce or cheese in the dead center of the pie, because you're going to find that's the soggiest area. Now I'm going to take the oil, and I'm going to dollop the oil on. Do not sprinkle the oil on in a circle or anything. You want to dollop it on because you want there to be coherent bites. Remember, it's all about interesting mouthfeel. We want there to be one bite where there's just oil. We want there to be one bite where there's just cheese. So we want to create those varieties of places, textures, so that every bite is a little different than every other bite, and that's what creates interest in the mouth. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and get this in the oven. I'm going to give it a little shake because I've been talking. It's going a little slower than usual. And I'm just going to make sure that the oven is sprayed down in the center since I haven't been using it. Might be overheated in that center. I'm going to go ahead and get this right in that center. Perfect. Great. Let that bake up. Go ahead and get this on a screen. Just because the bottom's cooking slightly faster than the top. Not much. And I'm also going to rotate the pie around. You see it's got a little more color on the part that was in the back that I just flipped to the front. Let's check our pie. Look at it at the bottom there. It looks just about perfect. Let's take a look. You can see how that cheese melted. That's just about perfect. Let's go ahead and put it on our cooling rack. One thing I should mention is that you should do as much work on the cooling rack as possible. So if you have other ingredients that you're putting on the pie, try and put them on while it's on the cooling rack. These doughs have so much moisture in them that they tend to get soggy once they're put on a plate. So the longer it can sit on this rack and let the moisture come out, the better. Now, I'm noticing the stack of plates just came from the dishwasher and they have a little bit of moisture on them. Even the tiniest amount has got to get wiped off. If even a little bit of moisture, actual water on the plate, gets underneath this pie, the whole crust won't be as good. All right, let's take a look underneath and see what we're looking for. It's pretty close to perfect underneath. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down. Now, for the smaller 11-inch pies, just cut it into 4 slices. For the larger pies, the 13.5-inch pies, I cut them into 6s. Now, when I get to the end, I give it a little twist. That helps to separate the slices. Now, I'm going to top it with oil. The reason I didn't put the oil on while it was on the cooling rack is because I really want that cheese to cool off just a little bit. We already put oil on at the beginning. I'm adding a little oil at the end, mostly to the back of each slice. And the idea there is I want some oil that didn't cook in the oven, that didn't even get the residual heat of the super hot pie when it came out, because I want to add a different flavor. And by putting it only at the back of the slice, I'm guaranteeing that there's an extra little different flavor that they haven't experienced before when they get to the bitter end of the slice. So that's it. Let me give a taste. Fold it up the way we tell everybody to do. Perfect. Really. It's just a perfect slice of pizza. Thanks, guys.